Hello folks, welcome to this series of AWS services where today we are going to talk about cloud computing. So basically what is cloud? Now talking about cloud, most of you must have used cloud in one way or other. Whether you are listening to music or you are browsing your mail or maybe browsing just a website, we all are actually in one way or other we are using cloud. But the way we use cloud is we use cloud applications which are hosted on cloud. But now just think about the other side of it. The engineers who are responsible for creating that environment so that any user can basically connect to those cloud-based services and enjoy its application. So let's talk about that other side. When you are basically an IT engineer or when you are a cloud engineer, and you have to basically set up the whole system, set up the whole infrastructure so that your developers as well as the end user can take benefit of this cloud-based ecosystem. This is why we are here. Going forward, we are going to learn about cloud and AWS in particular. So just think about it. Suppose you are an entrepreneur and you want to create an IT company. Now to start an IT company, what is it that you need? First of all, of course, you need idea, you need various kind of resources, but most importantly, you need basically IT infrastructure, which would include the servers, the storage part, the networking part, and so many other things. So basically to start an IT company, you need hardware. It could be smaller set of hardware and software, or it could be large infrastructure based on what is your business model, what kind of IT company you are creating. So where to go from here? Are you going to go to the market and going to purchase all those compute servers, storage, and the networking among them? So just think about it. You need an IT infrastructure, you need servers, you need storage, you need networking, you need to install a various kind of software over it. To arrange all of it, you might get lost into this big IT infrastructure. So all your design, your business model may take a back seat. So what is the solution? The solution basically comes from the cloud. So when you're talking about cloud, this is what cloud is basically providing you. Any cloud service provider is basically setting up all this infrastructure, the compute part, the database part, the storage part, the networking part, all of it in their own data centers where they've got used machines and the networking etc. already done. So you can just connect to their data center by using internet connections. Of course, you need to create an account with them, and that's all. Within 10 minutes, you will be able to use their services. This is the concept of cloud. But having said that, what till now we have discussed is that's basically part of the cloud. That's just the infrastructure as a service model. So when you talk about cloud, you talk about various kind of service models. There are three major service models. One is the one that we talked about, infrastructure as a service. Another is platform as a service. And third is basically software as a service. We call it IaaS, PaaS and SaaS respectively. So now we understand that if you need to use the compute or storage or networking etc. and the cloud service provider basically provides all these things over an internet connection, we call it infrastructure as a service. But think about it again. As an entrepreneur, I might not be interested on just bare infrastructure. I might need some operating system, some runtime environment, maybe something like deployed database, so that I should be able to start using it from day one. So when you get this kind of runtime environment along with the infrastructure, that is called platform as a service. Now here when I say runtime environment, it's basically a bit more generic in nature. Runtime environment means it could be a simple operating system like Windows, Linux, etc. It could be the operating system plus some more softwares installed that can provide you runtime environment which you can use to start building your own application. So when cloud starts providing this kind of service, then basically it is called platform as a service. So the example of platform as a service could be deployed databases, deployed CRM systems like you get from salesforce.com, or pre-installed operating systems and ERP systems. Now there is third service model as well, that is called software as a service. So if the cloud service providers start building an application by using their platform and infrastructure and we start consuming that as an application, then that service model is called software as a service. So this is what most of the people use. So like everybody is using say Gmail. Now Gmail is what? Gmail is a software which is built by using the underlying platform as a service and infrastructure as a service of Google Cloud. If you are listening to YouTube, that again is an application. That means YouTube is also a kind of SaaS. So the idea of this IaaS, PaaS and SaaS is that there is a cloud service provider who is maintaining all this underlying infrastructure, platform or even application, and as a user you can connect to it using internet connection by using whatever device you have. You have got mobile, you have got a laptop or your servers. You can connect from anywhere if you have got internet connection to that. So that is basically cloud and associated service models. So now of course to support all of it, they need to put their infrastructure somewhere physically. So for any cloud service provider, if it is a public cloud, then they have got their infrastructure distributed across the globe at so many locations. These locations are normally called regions. On all these locations, they have got their physical infrastructure along with some virtualization layer, etc., or in simple terms, some softwares running over that infrastructure, and all these data centers are connected directly to each other. So to provide the cloud service, they would need a physical infrastructure at the bottom line, and then they need to have a virtualization layer. Virtualization layer will act as a resource manager and works as an interface between the infrastructure as a service and the actual physical infrastructure. So for example, if I am going to request for say 5 servers, each server with 4 GB of RAM and 100 GB of hard disk, then the request is actually going through the virtualization layer, which is allocating some physical resources on the underlying physical infrastructure, reserving this space and then giving control back to me. So all of this resource management, etc., is done by the virtualization layer. So of course there are multiple roles of this virtualization layer. It has to provide the security, it has to provide the isolation, it has to provide the fault tolerance, etc., along with the resource management. So if you think about the cloud architecture, there is this physical infrastructure, then you've got virtualization layer, then you've got infrastructure as a service layer, then the platform as a service layer, and then finally software as a service layer. So they've been stacked one over the other because if you are using platform as a service, that means you are using the underlying infrastructure as a service and the virtualization layer as well as the physical infrastructure. Similarly, a software application is built by using the underlying platform as a service as well as infrastructure as a service along with the virtualization layer and the physical infrastructure. So that is why the service models can be visualized in this manner as well. So what are the benefits of the cloud computing services? Of course, there are multiple benefits. Since the infrastructure becomes shared, you get most efficiency out of the physical infrastructure. So it has got a pay-as-you-go model. That means you don't have to pay anything upfront. It has increased mobility because you can connect to it from anywhere. There is no capital expenditure, no advance payment. If you're designing it well enough, then you can achieve high availability. So what if a server goes down? So in cloud, there are multiple mechanisms so that you can have high availability so that even if the server goes down, your application never goes down. So it is easy to manage because any cloud service provider gives you a good interface to control your resources. This increases the productivity of your engineers. This becomes environment friendly because now you can share the physical resources. That in turn reduces your carbon footprint. So if you use cloud, your deployment will become faster. If you have to increase the workload or reduce the workload, you can do it very quickly. So that's called dynamic scaling. Because of all these features, cloud is expanding at exponential rate. So whether you are a big company or a small company or a medium company, cloud looks good for everyone, and that is where the jobs are coming from. So if you have to enter in the cloud market today, whether you are a senior executive or you are just beginning your career, or if you want to go and take your own path, cloud is for you. So you can start learning cloud today. And the first thing in learning any cloud is understand what does it do. Basically, what are the various services provided by cloud. So from a career perspective, as you can see, there are various roles like cloud architect, you've got cloud engineers, you've got migration experts. Cloud and DevOps has got a very close relationship. So if you are a DevOps professional, you should and you must learn cloud. And this is what we are going to start from the next video. So there are so many companies which are actually adopting cloud and achieving productivity and efficiency in their business. There are so many success stories around the world, and almost every company is now moving towards the cloud. So cloud is the new normal. It was said by Andy Jassy, who was vice president of Amazon.com back in 2014. And from then on, cloud has only increased. Now there are various kind of cloud service providers and almost every company is adopting cloud. So even this quote has become old. So from next video, we are going to be more specific about Amazon Web Services. See you soon in the next video.